Casey Cizikas of the New York Islanders was given a match penalty for this play on Sunday at UBS Arena as he caught the big Swiss defender up in the jaw, chin area, and he's in concussion protocol. Jim Nill, I believe, yesterday confirmed with Sean in Columbus that it was 5 to 6 days minimum. That's hard to really to pin down how long it's going to be. It means that you won't play against the Kings on Friday.
Correct.
I understand where Luds is coming from, that I don't think there's any intent on that play. But, and I remember talking with Stu Barnes about this back when Stu was working for the club, and he was very adamant of, if you're serious about protecting players, and he was saying this as much as the NHLPA side as the NHL side, you have to stop defending the aggressor in a hit where head contact is made.
Correct.
And I agree with him on that.
And I agree too. I mean, again, you look at the NFL and some of the things where people are penalized are ridiculous, but are you going to protect the quarterbacks or are you not? I go back to Brad Richards. You were around for that one, right? Wasn't it the Anaheim guy knocked him? And he had the puck, so he was open game, but I mean, he hit him straight in the head, and there was no penalty called, and Brad Richards said, you have the video. I'm watching the video. It's a penalty. Do something.
Yeah.
And basically they're saying, well, we can't. They didn't call it in the game or whatever. So
was it not available in the rule book then for them?
No.
If it wasn't called on the ice, they couldn't do anything.
And again, the league has been very slow in protecting. And then we get to the concussion situation where there's potential lawsuits and all that stuff. And it makes sense. I mean, you want to protect your players. And I agree that was a very borderline close hit.
Yep.
And I was on the island and you heard the same thing. The fans there were furious that it was even a penalty. But the shoulder pads are really hard plastic. And to do a direct hit to the head, I keep going back. I think I told you guys this. If you get in an accident and you hurt a guy's car, it's no big deal. You call the insurance company. You get in an accident and you hurt the person, now it's a different situation. So if you get a hit and you hurt the person and that person goes in concussion protocol, I do think it changes what the penalty should be, because whatever it is you did, you may have been too far on the line. And again, the question is, are you going to try and protect the players or not?
Well, I think it's the NHL, and starts with Commissioner Gary Bettman,
Yep.
right? They want all the head contact out of the game.
Correct.
Everybody wants it out, right?
Yep.
So I believe with the penalty that was called, the only way that there would be more discipline or any additional discipline has to come from Gary Bettman.
That's correct.
Correct.
For a hit to the head.
Okay. So that means he had to look at this because there was no other discipline.
That's right.
Correct.
There's no
And he's the
department
one
of
that
player
doesn't
safety.
want any more head contact.
Correct.
So to me, that also tells you that what they saw was there was no intent. Yes, it was that.
Correct.
It was I don't know how you want to call it a hockey play. I'm not going to say that. But again, I think some of this will come into play when you have a 6'7", 6'8", or 9 player on his skates that comes down and he's not looking at the puck. Cizikas does not extend up and drive into his head. I'm only guessing that's what they looked at, because otherwise, with everything that we know about these guys want this out of the game,
Right.
the guy that sits on the top of the mountain said, nope, that was plenty.
There was some complaining about the process because they originally called a match penalty. Then they reviewed it. Or no, they called a major, excuse me.
Yep.
They reviewed it and then called a match. And I'm sure that there was some reminder somewhere in there. There is no major penalty for checking illegal check to the head. It's either a 2 or a match. There's no major game misconduct. That isn't available. That actually, believe it or not, I think would have been appropriate for that hit, because I don't think, as Luddy said, there was any intent. But the consequences of it were such that him being ejected, Cizikas, and the Stars getting a couple power play goals and effectively winning the game, I thought was a fair result. I don't think he needed any more suspension. And we're going to show you the comparison with Trevor Zegras in a second, where it's completely different. I think they got it right, even if the process was a little weird because maybe they shouldn't have called a major. The fact that they can review these hits now and try to get it right is way better than, sorry about the bell, Pavelski in the playoffs, where they get it wrong and it massively affects a game or even a series.
Now, we'll say this. If that would have been the playoffs, I'm not sure they would have called a 5-minute major, because the playoffs are different.
Even though I don't like they changed their standard.
I
But
don't
The other thing that I said last night, Mike, too, is a little bit of this. Like when you look at Casey Cizikas as a player, fourth line guy, he's an energy guy. He finishes his checks every year. He's going to be in the top 20, 25. of the league in hits. And again, they're not dirty hits.
No.
But I think a little of this is a young player not knowing who he's playing against, knowing that this is his type of game, his style of game, this is the way he plays. And so you always have to be prepared for this guy to go straight through you. And I think there was part of Cizikas knowing that he's going up against a brick wall. And he's probably a little bit more planted and a little bit more prepared for contact. And Leon, again, he was reaching for the puck, and you can see he was just trying to swat it back around. And so he kind of exposes himself in that. Then again, it doesn't make anything acceptable. But
honestly,
it
if Cizikas hits him in the shoulder there, I don't think anyone has a problem. But because he makes head contact, that changes it.
And again, and I do agree with you. I do think that Leon will learn from this.
Sure.
And next time he goes in there, he won't have his chin exposed or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and that should help.
Robert, so you mentioned Robert Tiffin earlier. He wrote something about it afterwards, and I thought he had a line that was really good. He said, if you keep putting the blame on the victim, then you're institutionalizing the next generation of players that it's their fault they get hit in the head. They should still be able to protect themselves.
Yep.
And Luddy, you're absolutely right. Putting yourself in really bad positions is not smart. But headhunting, as you're going to see here, definitely doesn't belong in the game. And this was Trevor Zegras against the Detroit Red Wings.
It's not even in the screen.
Here he comes against Michael Rasmussen and picks the head. This is blatant check to the head. Here's the interesting thing. I won't say it's funny.
It is interesting.
No penalty on this play. It was not penalized. Todd McClellan was irate, especially after watching the replay on the bench. Now, there's another angle here. This is the replay that we saw from the Detroit broadcast. If you go to, this is the game camera as it's happening. Rasmussen picks up the puck on a rebound, brings it out of the zone, skates it up toward the red line. As you can see, he's doing a chip pass, and then he gets drilled by Zegras and gets dropped. Now go back again, John, if you do this one more time, and stop it right, if you would, please.
Right there.
Yeah, that's good. We'll just look at Luds. Keep going a couple of frames to where he's making the pass. Right there.
Puck's
Zegras
gone.
is at the circle. He has not even yet begun his check, and the puck is gone. What was crazy to me was there's 3 officials in the frame, okay, 2 linesmen and 1 referee, all looking at this play, and nobody saw it. And there's a back referee. Now, maybe the angle's wrong, and I'm not blaming the refs, but I'm amazed they didn't catch this, especially because, go ahead, John, if you go forward here, he gets absolutely popped. But the part that really stood out to me was they showed a close-up as they're showing, and Sean was at this game, and he said that when they played this on the big screen, the place went nuts, and the Red Wing fans were very upset, and they had a camera shot on the Wings broadcast of Zegras, close-up, ISO, and he's saying, no way, no way, no way.
But
I don't know how you can say
hilarious.
that after watching that. And he was suspended for 3 games because of it.
I'll do my little inside joke to Luds. He's the only one who'll get that. He looked like Pavel Bure there. Remember when he hit Shane Churl?
Oh, yeah.
Same exact hit. It's a little Pavel Bure had to leap to elbow.
I've
him.
seen the hit. Did he do the same thing? Did he say no way, no way?
He didn't get penalized.
No, but
did
his head was on a swivel the rest of the
Yeah.
night.
For sure.
He was aware of what he did.
What's crazy about it is take the head contact out of the way. It's a penalty.
Yeah.
If he just hits him, it's a
Yeah,
penalty.
it's a-
Right, he's not
Interference, a
eligible
late
to be
hit,
hit.
you can call it anything. And
Charging,
the fact that it's not a penalty,
interference, whatever
is
you want to
just-
call it.
it's just wild. But that's one of those I got to imagine that's Zegras getting a little bit of frustration with his game and his struggles, and he just took advantage of it. That's a bad one. That's 10 times worse.